Hi, my name is Josh Robinson. 2 years ago, I bought this old modern house and have been restoring it since then. Last night, I realized that I hadn't been documenting much of it at all. Tonight, I've decided to change that. This is the house. The community is called Sunset Lanes. So this morning, I think what we'll start on is get the trim put on the screen doors, finish those up, get them sanded. Then we'll prime them and then ultimately paint and hang those today. Hopefully we can get that done before lunch or around that time. And then the rest of the day and the rest of the weekend, we can focus on polyurethaning all the additional woodwork that we did this winter. Well, we got everything sanded up. Now we can get some primer spread. But before that, I think it's time for a little coffee break. Got the primer on both doors. Everything looks nice. And now it's ready to start applying some color. The orange is Sherwin-Williams Robust Orange. I don't know what color the doors originally were on the house. Either yellow or orange is my best guess. But I have no idea because the doors weren't present when I got the house. So orange is my favorite color, so that's why we're going with orange. Well, we got both coats on, just waiting for it to dry up now, which should be pretty quick. It always surprises me just how long it takes to actually get paint spread. You think, oh yeah, that'll just be an hour. It turns into 3. So anyways, both coats are on, just waiting for it to dry up. Then we can put on the hardware and get these things hung. So this is the hardware. Really simple, just a nice bent handle. Marcel Breuer, who was one of Polivnick's instructors in school, used this handle extensively, and according to pictures, this is also something that Polivnick used as well. So I think it's appropriate for one of the few things in the entire house that doesn't slide, to use a handle like this. And what we'll be using for the hinges are just a typical spring-loaded screen door hinge. Really happy with how these turned out. I especially like that I was able to find a screen to start with that had the crossbar at 36 inches. So that aligns with the countertops in the kitchen, it aligns with a lot of the built-ins, and of course it also aligns with the sill height of all the low glass in the house. And what had always sort of seemed like an unintegrated door unit, because the head height is different than the rest of all the glazing. Now finally, the door is part of the language of all the glass, which I think is really successful. So originally, the houses did have the screen doors because it was part of the whole cross ventilation strategy for the houses. But they didn't have the crossbar at 3 foot, and I knew that. But I wanted to go with this. It made more sense to me, and helped to integrate the doors in with the glass. Originally, this is what they looked like. So this isn't this house. It's one of the other models here in the community. This photograph was taken about 1957.
further up the street. So this house has a door on the gable end and the clear story window package, but you can see what the actual screen door looked like. So it had a higher bottom style with actually with a panel in it. I assume that it was probably just the cheapest screen door available at that time, but it didn't really line up with anything. Here's another shot. Another house, Mr. Beask's house. This was one of the non-carport models. This was also shot in about 1957. Here's another good shot that shows a screen door very clearly with a high bottom, and you can see none of it lines up with any of the glass next to it, and it certainly wouldn't have lined up with this window package, with the ribbon windows here in the living room. And again, Mr. Slobodin's house here, showing an original screen door with that big bottom plate. So we're really matching sort of the slenderness of the overall profile, but bringing that cross member up into alignment with all of the living room windows. I think overall it's a better and more intentional design. Something else that I think that we should have a look at is Norton Polivnick's own house and what his ideas that he was the same ideas that he was exploring here. What was he doing at his own home? His house was featured in architectural records. They eventually changed it to record houses, and they still, Architectural Records still comes out with this book, but this just happens to be the very first one, and it's called The Treasury of Contemporary Houses, selected by the editors of Architectural Record. This came out in, I believe, 1954 was the first year. 1954. So that's the same year that these houses are on the drawing board, and the first ones are getting built. Anyways, Polivnick's house is here on page 36. And I actually used to live within view of this house, which is sort of interesting. But this is the house as it appears in record in 1954. And you can see a lot of the same ideas that he's doing here in these homes, he did for himself. What's probably the most interesting thing about it is the fact that it was built in two phases. So the first floor with a 7'6" or 7'4" ceiling height was the first portion that he did, and I believe that was in 40 somewhere, like 48 maybe, something like that. And then he did the expansion, a 900 square foot expansion, which was adding an upper level, which really feels a lot like these houses. The upper level looks like one of these houses sitting on top of it. But you can see the language that he used for the screen doors in his own home. Very similar to what we just put in here. I think overall, Polivnick would be very happy.